Hey everybody, Kane here, and welcome to another video of Art of Conquest. In this one, like mostly every month, we're gonna talk about the state of the game. So there are a few topics to cover. First, optimizations in this game. Yes, there have been some, as hard as it might sound, or as silly as it might sound. Then we have some updates that sort of change the way some PvP might go. Then, of course, we have some not very happy players in the community, and they are kind of only rising in number. So, first things first, the optimization. Mostly the optimization comes down to the honor and you getting equipment with that honor from the private dealer. So, when I had over like 50,000 equipment just before this video, I was able to still enter my inventory. Now, that was not the case a couple of weeks back, maybe a week back, and the same thing about batching equipment, right? So, when I batched like 100,000, 50,000, like a week or two ago, they were not batching instantaneously. They were batching in 2, 3, 4 minutes or so. Now they batched over 50,000 equipment instantaneously. So they optimized transmuting equipment. So we gotta, give kudos to that. They have optimized something in this game. However, I would like to see them optimize PvP more than that of just specific other random things in this game because this game is 90% plus PvP. Yes, of course, there are events. You can do events without PvP, but then it kind of still boils down you befriending a person or a couple of people that know how to PvP to still benefit from some PvP events or guild events. Otherwise, you'd still be losing out on something. So, regardless if the game has events, you're still required to have some sort of knowledge or people to be able to do PvP. So kind of, yeah, I would really want them to do some optimizations to that. But aside from that, it mainly comes from the Android side. I've played on iOS and I've been spoiled by iOS, and the gameplay on iOS is smooth. Like, even me moving on the map right now, I'm not sure if you notice, but it's not crystal clear, right? Like, I am moving on the map and I am lagging. Like, it's dropping a few frames. Now, if people don't notice that or they're playing on that, they can get used to that. But this is dropping frames even when moving. Now, when I would walk on iOS, it's crystal clear, everything is fine. PvP is full 60 frames. Like, everything is so good and so smooth that it even looks like a new game. So a lot of Android player base, even Chinese people in China and stuff like that, they experience the same lag as even me or even some other people. Like, they're just unable to properly play. Now, even in the best circumstances in terms of dual tower, right? When I take a battle that I don't have any declicks, I experience 1 to 2 ability loss over an iOS player. And the current meta is pretty much based on speed. And by speed, I mean the faster you clear the enemy, the faster you pincer, rather, the faster you cast abilities, the faster you pincer, the faster you win the battle. So it's not only about making a formation, but making a formation and casting abilities. And of course, a little bit of a proper placement will do you wonders as well. And many people can just copy, they can just get somewhat a decent attack value on Avril, and you just body everything with Arcanate, right? So there are nuances like that that kind of make the game a little bit annoying for Androids because they are not able to do the same speed as iOS people because they're lagging, they're getting a lot more declicks, and it just kind of makes a disparity, I guess that's the word, between the player base and a lot of Android people are either swapping to iOS or they're just quitting the game in large numbers. Now, I've seen even Androids, a decent amount of them, selling their accounts or even messaging me if I know somebody who would want to buy them. Or even in the chat that I have, like I've seen a couple of people wanting to sell their accounts. So yeah, that's a little bit silly to be honest, but yeah, that is what is going on. Aside from that, updates. So we've got a new hero, which kind of is with some humongous scalings built in him. I think I covered a little bit on him, but I likely will do another video talking about each and single one ability. But this particular hero can do a variety of things. He can even be frontline with this. He can do a lot of damage even with his own artifact. He can even do decent damage with Sapio. Can do some damage or a decent amount of damage to heroes with Blood Moss Bite and also the Halcyon Z. But I think from what I've tested, I've had more success with Hourglass, but I still need to test a 5-star Spear. So yeah, that is what I'm gonna see. But in comparison to many other heroes, these two heroes have huge inbuilt scaling. So for example, Lee has percentage damage, he has 120% max physical resistance reductions, he has decent range, he has debuffs. Whereas this particular rogue, his percentages scale even into thousands. Now, one could say, yeah, but it still depends on a lot of buffs, debuffs. Yeah, it does. It still does depend on a lot of buffs and debuffs. But when you have a hero that can get about 800% additional damage to enemies when they go 100 to 0 in one ability from either Avril or himself, that is why you kind of see even basic heroes like Arian, Ophidia, Sagan, Grims tank like 100 trillion damage. Yeah, it's because this ability right here, raising Drax damage by about 800%. First, when I read this, I thought it was just, his own, so it would not really be that high. But no, this is based on the enemy's HP, and that's why a lot of battles you see damages in hundreds of trillions. It's pretty much because of this one. So yeah, the physical meta is approaching if it's not here already. Right, so on this account I don't have enough resources to test him fully, but I will be doing quite a lot of tests on another one. So yeah, that is what I kind of wanted to say about this. The updates, I mean, it depends, really. The thing about the game, it kind of makes it not kind of good or nice to many people is an incredible amount of paywalls. Now, I've touched that on a lot of videos, but they are deterring a lot of people. And now the paywalls are on this particular hero for like 2 months. The paywalls are on plenty of other things. Let me just quickly go. Stronghold Decorations is the second one. Excuse me. Mounts is the third one, but this is just cosmetics. The percentages are not really that good. Then we had some skins which were paywalled in terms of the heroes, which is, I guess, like, what, 4 now? 5, we have the army skins, in which if you get 5 of a piece, you get a huge amount of scalings. And I believe from what somebody told me, this scaling goes across races, so you can have 100% scaling. So that is pretty insane. Aside from that, you have what's it called? The dragon abilities, which is like what, 6, 7 paywalls already. Then, of course, you have something which is right now very powerful, which is the Prism Awakens. So this feature came out, I think, a couple of months back now, and it's still paywall. So, and this kind of feature is one of the main things in terms of PvP. And some people spend quite a reasonable amount to get even tens of them right now. And some people only have one, which are, like myself, not really spending that much. So yeah, the paywalls are kind of deterring a lot of people, as well as the optimizations not being in PvP. The game is sort of very laggy. It becomes boring if it's laggy. Paywalls are also deterring people, so as it goes, it's sort of pushing away the Android community out of this game. Or some of them, if they are lucky, they can still switch to iOS. So I don't really know what else I can say about it, but I know people that are either quitting. I know people that are trying to sell their accounts. I know people that some succeed in selling their accounts, but aside from that, it's this game is bleeding people. That's probably the simplest as what you can put, right? And bleeding people is not a very good game, or rather, not a very good thing. Because I know plenty of guilds who had more than like 50, 100 active people. And now some of those realms, they have like what, 200 people with 3 big guilds or so. Kind of makes you wonder how many people had quit the game in the last few months. So yeah, it's bleeding people, and it's bleeding a lot of people. So I kind of wonder to see what they're gonna do, what they're gonna fix, what they're gonna add, and whether or not those changes will affect the game in a good way, or it will affect the game in a bad way. But I guess the most of the I guess the worst thing is the premium is not becoming accessible to free to play, and of course the Android PvP lag, which in the current meta, in the current very quick PvP speed type meta, is pushing all the androids rather quite below, unless you have the toppest tier Android device costing like thousands. Then you don't even stand a chance to even play this game. And I doubt 95% of the Android player base could even afford those devices, opposed to pretty much like most iOS devices not having any lag or almost any lag. Like a tiny bit is fine. But when it comes to 5 to 10 frames per second versus 60 in PvP, the difference is real, right? So, yeah, that is what I kind of wanted to talk about. Yeah, do let me know in the comments down below what you also think, and what you also think is happening in terms of this game. So yeah, thanks for watching. Hopefully you enjoyed it. If you did, do hit that subscribe button. It would help me out a lot. As well as if you would wish to support me more than just watching my videos, I have made a Patreon page where you would be able to do just that, and in return, I would be able to help you out more individually in terms of events, PvP formations, and stuff like that. As well as I would like to thank all of my patrons for the support. I really, really appreciate it for your subscriptions. Thank you guys so much. Thanks for watching. Take care and stay safe out there.